Hello everyone, welcome to China Talk. The Republic of Honduras, located in Central America, established diplomatic relations with China, and the renowned scientist and pharmacologist Mr. Salvador Moncada became the first ambassador of Honduras to China. Since China and Honduras opened a new chapter in their bilateral relations, which areas will be the priorities of the cooperation between the two countries? And what are the future plans for the cooperation between the two countries and the Belt and Road Initiative? In order to answer the questions, China Talk has an exclusive interview with the Ambassador of Honduras to China, His Excellency, Mr. Salvador Moncada. Good morning, Mr. Ambassador. It is really a great privilege for me to have this conversation with you.
Good morning. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to talk to you.
China and Honduras established diplomatic relations with each other. You have said that it is unprecedented for the two countries to establish diplomatic ties. So why do you think it is so important?
Well, it is important because then Honduras is joining the historical trend towards multipolar world. We have lived in a unipolar world, and now by doing this move, which is a very important and very courageous move from our president and our country, I think we have opened up the possibilities of interacting and interfacing with other countries which are very important. And China, of course, is probably the most important country to have diplomatic and economical relations with at the moment.
Several months later, we are going to celebrate the second anniversary of China-Honduras diplomatic relations. So looking forward, which areas will be the priorities for our countries to cooperate?
The opportunities for cooperating between China and Honduras are enormous, really. There are possibilities, if you are talking about aid, is something that is going to be very significant. Cooperation directly is going to be very significant, and trade is going to be very significant. And in the three areas, we are already moving in an important and significant way. We have a program of aid to renovate and restructure schools in the countryside of Honduras, which is going to be very important, and that is being carried out through a program of aid from China to Honduras. But we have other areas of cooperation, for example, in which we are going to develop, for example, an energy project, which for us is very important. And we have companies, Chinese companies, which are coming to Honduras and starting to invest. And we are very much looking forward to getting Chinese investment in my country.
Yes, and last June, that is 3 months after the establishment of diplomatic relations, the Honduran government have signed cooperation documents of the Belt and Road Initiative with China. So how does Honduras view the BRI, that is the Belt and Road Initiative, and what kinds of cooperation have been achieved between our two countries and the BRI?
Well, to be part of the BRI is to be part of a very significant international project in which now many countries are participating. That's the important part. I think that the Belt and Road Initiative is going to be a massive infrastructure international project. Communication, opening up trade, opening up movement of people between countries, interfacing positively between cultures, information, and so on, especially in the last year in which China has emphasized, and I think it's a very good emphasis, to make the Belt and Road Initiative more green and fill it up with projects which have significance in terms of preventing or adapting to climate change. I think it's a very important initiative to be part of, and we are very proud that we have signed and we are going to develop projects inside that area.
So looking forward, can you introduce or tell us about the future plans of the cooperation between China, Honduras, and the Belt and Road Initiative?
Well, there is one project that is my pet project. I think it's a very important project, and it's a project in the area of energy. We would like to transform the whole energy generation of Honduras into a green energy generation. We already have a significant part of our energy produced by renewable sources, about 60%, but we would like to achieve 100%. And I think in a project that we are at the moment delineating, we are going to create the conditions to become completely generators of green energy, let's say within 10 years from now.
Yes, you have just mentioned that the Belt and Road Initiative become more green. So actually, China has been always pursuing green development and advocating building a green Silk Road, supporting the BRI countries' low carbon transition. So how would you say the efforts made by China in this aspect?
I think they are very significant, and they are going to have an very important impact. It has been recognized now internationally that the effort of China is very important in the world. There was a few days ago an article in the Financial Times, a newspaper from the West, recognizing that China is leading and it will lead in this transformation into a green energy generating planet, if you want.
It is difficult for Western paper to recognize China's role.
I think it's difficult, and it has been commented that of all newspapers, the Financial Times writing an editorial like that is very important, which means that what China is doing is having an impact, and what China is doing is going to be very important if you look at it strategically in relation to this very important thing that we have to do in the world, which is to win ourselves out of fossil fuels.
Okay, then back to our question. We know that Honduras is a country boasts rich resources in wind, light, and water, but now it has suffered from the intensified flood due to the climate change. So how do you see the significance of cooperation on the green development and the climate change and the Belt and Road Initiative?
Well, you know, Honduras is a very poor country, which historically has not contributed very much in the generation of greenhouse gases. But because of our geographical location in the Caribbean, we are one of the countries which is most dangerously located to suffer the impact of climate change. In fact, every second year, we have a very large hurricane season, which destroys an important part of our economy. So being part of that and being a country which is so sensitive to the climate change, I think we have to act rapidly. We have to act significantly as soon as possible. And I think China can help very much. In this project, which I am talking to you, the Green Energy Project, we have already had significant discussions, not only with Chinese companies who have already acted in Honduras, because they have done already work even before we signed our diplomatic relations agreement, and with Belt and Road Coalition for Green Development.
Okay, yes, we know that in December 2024, Honduras have signed a memorandum of understanding with the Power China International Group Limited and also the BRI International Green Development Coalition. So can you tell us more about these MOU and what are your expectations and suggestions on the cooperation among the three parties?
Well, this memorandum of understanding delineates the general aspects of what we would like to achieve. I think that it's very important, the transition from fossil fuel to the generation of green energy, which we are talking about, not only from the resources that we have, like hydraulic power and also solar, which we are greatly endowed with, but also the possibility of starting to think ambitiously in the generation of green hydrogen, for example. So that's one part, the generation of energy, the transformation of our power of generating from fossil fuels to the green component. But that's only part of the concept that we want to advance. We are going to do three things which are very important in Honduras based on one concept, the management of water. We want to do a proper management of water first to protect ourselves against climate change or to adapt ourselves to the changes in climate that have already taken place. That's one. The second, which is very important, is to make water available for agricultural use. And the third one, to make water available for human consumption. If you put the energy project and you put these other components, which are very important, you start looking at a project which is more comprehensive and is going to have a very, very significant impact in the beginning of economical development of the country. So we want this to be at the basis of the development of socio-economical development, because once you have solved the problem of energy, once you have solved the problem, or you're in the process of solving the problem of climate change and management of water, you can really start thinking about steps towards socio-economical development, which we would like to implement almost in parallel to the implementation of this project. So the memorandum of understanding that was signed for us is a very significant one, and we are very grateful and very interested. First, because Power China is very interested and think it's possible to do. And secondly, because we have the full support from the Coalition for Green Development. And I think, as I said to you, those three structures, the government of Honduras and those two structures, can put together something which might make the Honduran project a very important pilot project in a country which is highly vulnerable like Honduras is.
BRI International Green Development Coalition is the first international environmental protection agency established in China. So how would you assess the role of BRIGC has played in the cooperation among the three parties?
Well, I think it's a very, very important. And to tell you the truth, the first group of people that we contacted and responded immediately to our requests of contacting and starting the conversation was precisely the Coalition for Green Development. And we have worked very closely together, and we have got already enormous support from them. And I think they are going to be a very, very important partner in all this.
So how would you assess the current relations between China, Latin America, and the Caribbean states?
I think that is developing in a fantastic way. I would say that what has been achieved in 10 years is very, very big. Many Latin American countries now have China the main economical partner. The investment of China in Latin America is huge now, and if you put that together with the projects of infrastructure, the projects related to energy, and many other projects related to ports. A big port has just been opened in Peru, which is going to make a significant difference for Latin America and for the contact between China and Latin America, the Shanghai port, as you say, in Peru. And we are looking forward to that. And I think that if we continue developing, and if we take into account, which I think is very important, the concepts of modernization that China has are going to be incorporated into that interaction, I think it's going to be very beneficial for Latin America. And of course, if you think about a win-win cooperation, is going to be very good for China too. I think if you talk about comprehensive human development in terms of standards of life, culture, ethics. If you talk about the interaction between humans and nature, the need for peace in the world, a peaceful development of human society, all those things are things that the people in Latin America cherish and can be very much part of what we are trying to do.
Yes, and we know that Honduras is the current rotating presidency of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States. So what kind of role Honduras has played in boosting China-LAC relations?
Well, we have been part of the communal effort of Latin American countries to develop the CELAC structure. I think that we are about to finish now in March. But I think we are looking forward for the continuation of this effort in which Latin American countries and China are interfacing and interacting in a positive way.
Okay, yes, you have just mentioned Chinese modernization. We know that Chinese government is working very hard to advance Chinese modernization. However, it is not only for China alone, but it should be a global modernization where China collaborates with other countries to achieve peaceful development, mutual beneficial cooperation, and shared prosperity. So how would you say China's effort in advancing Chinese modernization? And what do you think the opportunities can be brought by Chinese modernization to Honduras, the LAC states, and even the whole world?
Well, that's what I was saying to you. If we take into account in the China-Latin American interactions, the concepts of Chinese modernization, which I already mentioned, yes, which is peaceful development, comprehensive development of humanity, a logical and convenient interaction between humanity and nature, all those principles are universal principles, and it's not something that China is going to impose on the world. I think that those concepts are things that we should adopt them if we want to live in a society that is going to be prosperous and is going to be fulfilling in terms of humankind in the future.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for your kind introduction and your insightful ideas. Really hope that the MOU signed by Honduras, the Power China, and the BRIGC can bring benefits to our two peoples. Thank you.
Thank you very much.